the end of Season 3 and the first year of ECCB Connects. The final episode of Season 3 will be released on March 29th. See you in May when we'll be back with the new season. ECCB Connects, protecting our currency, developing our region.
Hi and welcome to this another episode of ECCB Connects. This week we'll be looking at risk management and business continuity management. I have with me Alan Keele, Principal CEO of Certified Information Security. Alan, welcome to ECCB Connects.
Well, good morning to you. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Alan, start by telling us a bit about Certified Information Security. What do you do there?
Oh my goodness. Certified Information Security has been, originally incorporated and founded in 1999. So we've been around for some time. And for the past, nearly 20 years, we've been providing consultation and training to organizations throughout the Caribbean, United States, United Kingdom, Europe, for various topics. The name is a bit misleading, information security, because now we actually provide training, consultation on how to set up enterprise risk management programs, business continuity management programs, information security management programs, fraud control. Our latest is anti-bribery, anti-corruption training. So a lot of very topical, timely information that organizations need today to be able to work with each other.
Explain to us the concepts of risk management and business continuity management.
Well, firstly, we have to understand that today we understand that risk management actually provides the foundation for almost all other governance and management. Organizations set objectives by evaluating risk. They then have to evaluate how they'll achieve their objectives reliably, consistently, by managing risk. Towards that end, business continuity management is a follow-on to the generic topic of risk management, because business continuity management is about keeping an organization in business. Disaster recovery is about recovering the business back to its original state. So either way, both require a foundation in risk assessment, business impact assessment, and careful consideration of how to best protect the organization.
So in short, risk management and business continuity management are critical to the survival of an organization.
Oh, absolutely. And it's no longer just a good idea. Today, it has become such an expectation of stakeholders. So for example, now you just don't hope to have banking services available, customers demand it. And in order to maintain service levels, banks have to do careful risk assessment, risk management to ensure that they meet their customers' expectations. In a similar way, banks work with each other. And if I operate a bank efficiently and reliably, very carefully, according to very careful risk assessment, I have to be careful who I work with, because they need to do the same. Otherwise, their poor management could impact my good management. So this is how risk management and business continuity have really become prolific through all organizations. It's because we require it of each other.
And of course, they're also important to the protection of customers, because their customers have their financial wealth stored in these financial institutions.
Yes, absolutely.
Alan, you recently completed a 5-day workshop here at the ECCB with commercial bank representatives as well as the ECCB risk liaison officers. In summary, what were the objectives of that workshop?
Well, there are several objectives. The first and primary objective, of course, is to improve how the banking is managed and performed. Of course, there's always room for improvement. We're always looking at ways to do things better than we've done before. And today, what we've recognized is that too many organizations are managing risk, but on a very ad hoc basis. In other words, they see something that looks dangerous and they decide to try to control it. Today, we're trying to improve that to where we are doing careful consideration. Think of think of strategic risk management is really what it is, and trying to determine what we may encounter and how we'll best manage it even in the future in a very risk-assessed way. So the objectives of this program are to mature the way that banks are able to really address and approach risk in a very systematic and formal, structured way. That's the first objective. The second objective of the risk management training is, again, for banks in the Eastern Caribbean community to be able to practice risk management in a way that is recognized as sufficient and good by banks throughout the world. It's always important to make sure that we maintain our organizations to the best practices and the standards of the rest of the world, because after all, banks operate across the world. So those were the objectives of the risk management, primarily to be able to stand up a very mature risk program. Beyond that, great, you have a risk program, but how is it applied? How can it be used to protect us? Well, that's when we say, you know what, let's use risk management to ensure that our services are available when they need to be available, that they can be relied upon. That's where business continuity comes in. So business continuity, again, is really that aspect of risk management that really focuses on ensuring that the services are available when they should be and that customers are served as they should be.
Okay, so customers are happy and protected.
That is what we're looking to do, yes.
Let's look now at some of the areas, the specific areas you covered during the workshop.
Well, this was really, these were policy workshops. And when we say policy workshops, it's because when you want to set up a new program, a formal program, you can't have a program if it doesn't have a policy that really describes what the program is and what roles and responsibilities are to be played. So we really had a lot of work to do this week. We needed to set up what it was that we wanted the program to accomplish. We had to set out strategic goals and objectives for our risk management, for our business continuity management. We then had to complete our setup of the architecture of a program by determining appropriate roles, responsibilities. I think that a lot of the participants were surprised to find that there are so many roles and responsibilities from leadership that are so critical. We're so accustomed to having middle management do everything. But the problem is that middle management can't do something until senior management has made a decision on what needs to be done. So consequently, we really spent a lot of time on how to improve the ability for our leadership to require the right things. Because if they don't require the right things, then how can we work on the right things? Oh, there's a lot of discussion on that. So we spent a lot of time on setting up, again, roles, responsibilities, strategic objectives. But then finally we rolled up our sleeves and got into the how-to of conducting risk assessments. Many of the participants were already familiar with having done risk assessments, but they realized they were assessing risk but not really having any consistent measuring system. In other words, what is a 3 today of risk versus something you call a 3 of risk tomorrow? Nobody ever defined 3. And so we recognized that we really need to set up a formal system to make sense of any of these risk assessments that we've really been practicing and doing because we must, without really understanding what we were doing. So now we've made sense of it all. And so those were the objectives of the risk program. And then moving forward, again, the objectives of the business continuity program is, again, the protection of our critical services, making sure that we do the right job and consistently by plan.
During the workshop, you covered 2 components of the ISO Enterprise Risk Management Framework. In brief, explain those 2 frameworks for us.
Actually it's not so difficult. Here is the thing. Again, because risk management and because business continuity management are now important not only to the organization itself, but if I do business with you, if I rely upon your organization, I need to have some way of having confidence that you are managing your organization the proper way, because my organization relies upon your organization. Well, if you tell me you have risk management, How do I know what that means? If you tell me you have business continuity management, how do I know what that means? It turns out today we have a set of internationally accepted global standards for what good enterprise risk management is, for what good business continuity management is. The International Organization for Standardization, we commonly know them as ISO, or in Europe we call them ESO. And ISO has created standards for enterprise risk management called 31,000. They have a follow-on standard, 31,010, that help us understand how to do risk management in a proper way, but nicely enough, since it's a standard, if I tell you we're practicing risk management to 31,000, you would already understand what that meant. So it gives us a common framework to be able to practice the right thing.
And is a sort of measurement also?
To a degree, yes, because again, it defines the management system for risk management. And in a similar way, for business continuity management, we have ISO 22301. Now, not only do we have these ISO standards, but it turns out that the ISO organization itself can connote certification to these standards. So, for example, ECCB could pursue certification by ISO for its business continuity management program. Well, that accomplishes a whole new set of business goals. What it does is it sets out ECCB as truly being validated to internationally accepted best practices, which inspires confidence in all of its stakeholders throughout the world. It's a bit of bragging rights, because you're able to show we're not just trying, we've accomplished. We've been validated to this standard. So again, these ISO standards give us a benchmark to measure each other by.
Okay, you spoke a bit about the participants, the objectives of the workshop, and what you covered. Your overall assessment of the workshop and the participants?
Oh, goodness, I must say I was a bit surprised at the enthusiasm and the interest that the participants had. After all, risk management, business continuity management are not exactly what you would think of as exciting topics. But I found all of the participants very, very engaged with questions and trying to determine what they've been doing, how they can improve it to new ways, and how the new ways make sense. I've gotten a lot of, during the break comments, if you will, of people coming up, chasing me down during break to talk more about it. So I can say I'm very encouraged by the enthusiasm and the interest of the audience itself. And also I can say this is a very astute audience, I must say. They've kept me on my toes. So I've had a lot of great pressing questions, and I think we've really, really made a lot of progress.
So after all this enthusiasm, lots of information, what's next for this group of participants? What's the next step?
Oh, actually, that's already been planned out. It turns out part of the class itself is understanding of a project plan that's already been laid out. So these folks already have a path to follow. We've already provided policy templates for them to, well, complete and, of course, get signed, approved, agreed upon. So in other words, all of the tools are there to actually stand up the programs that we've been talking about. So the nice thing is that we're able to take it from talk to execution very quickly. Secondly, what the participants will have is we actually have professional certification exams for themselves. So following this class, these students, these participants will be able to practice and take their exams online and become ISO 31000 certified internal controls risk analysts. They'll also take another exam for the business continuity, becoming a certified ISO 22301 business continuity strategist. So I'm looking forward to the progress that will continue to be made long after class.
Okay. Alan, as we wrap up, if you were to send a message to organizations, especially financial organizations, with respect to the importance of risk management and business continuity management, what will that message be?
The short message is, in years past, those have both been shoulds. In other words, things we should do. We've always thought of them as something we really should do. It's become more than that today. because of external expectations, both have become shells. So it's something that needs to be addressed, and the alternative is to fall out of step with all of your business. And that is expensive.
Not a good place to be.
Not a good place to be, no.
Not good for the business, not good for the customers.
And not good for the country. So,
Alan, thank you very much for speaking with us on ECCB Connects.
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're watching ECCB Connects, protecting our currency, developing our region. And now for this week's financial tip.
Are you thinking of buying or building a house? Make it a reality by putting aside $200 a month for your down payment.
To view any episode of ECCB Connects, anytime, any place, at your convenience, check out our YouTube channel, ECCB Connects.
That's it for this week's episode of ECCB Connects. Thank you very much for watching, and do join us again next week for another program.